So good morning, guys.
Good morning. It's Wesley from Spinning Spur 1 live on Thursday morning.
I thought we would start with some brief introductions. Hopefully, you guys know who I am. I'm Marty Crotty. I'm the Executive Vice President of Asset Optimization. Tristan and I wanted to do some site visits this year. We talked about getting out to the various locations, and obviously, our ability to do that has been hampered quite a bit by the pandemic, and so we're doing what we can with virtual visits. What we'd like to do with this visit is make it as similar to a site visit as possible. So I'll turn it over to Tristan for an introduction, and then we'll kind of go around the room.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tristan Grambert, CEO of EDF Renewables North America. Super happy to be here with you this morning and look forward to seeing how you guys live your day-to-day life.
My name is Julius Douglas. I'm one of the area managers for Texas, the area manager for Spinning Spur 1, where we have Corey and the site team in the shop area. Corey?
I'm Corey Steve, Spinning Spur. I'm Wesley House, Senior Technician at Spinning Spur 1.
I'm Jerry Wehust, Senior Technician at Spinning Spur 1.
Kevin Contreras, Senior Technician at Spinning Spur 1.
And I'm Rob Beck, Senior Technician at Spinning Spur 1.
Guys, so how many guys do you have on your team there at Spinning Spur? And tell me a little bit about how you're currently managing our crews given the pandemic situation.
So we have 7 total technicians and myself, which makes 8. We have a green team, which has 3 technicians, and an orange team, which has 4 technicians and myself. And currently, we split the lead tech on the green team, who handles the day-to-day pods, and then I handle it on our orange team leader.
Okay, and what precautions are you guys taking today that you wouldn't have been taking typically? Tell me a little bit about your daily routine today compared to what it was like 3 months ago.
It's obviously the gloves, masks on, and then just the distancing that we try to keep with it, the 6 feet, unless it's a team lift, things like that. Usually we're more tight knit. Everybody kind of works together, but just now we're trying to maintain distance is one of the big. And then driving separate trucks. Usually these guys would all ride in 2 trucks instead of 4.
How about any of the technicians? Can you guys just tell me about how this feels and how you guys are working through this compared to the way it was again 3 months ago? Any challenges for you with family life, your work hours, and those sorts of things? How's this working for you?
It has changed a little bit. As you see, the teams are smaller, which is a challenge when it comes to down turbines, maintenance scheduling, and still dealing with all the issues that the site sees. But as far as the COVID goes, of course, working with masks and all the PPE that we need versus being able to just go and do the work. It's been somewhat of a challenge, but it's been well adaptable. As far as the scheduling, I think I can speak for most of us here. We absolutely love the scheduling and how the split shifts are working. So kudos to that for certainty. So I can't speak enough about that. We do enjoy the 12-hour work days, the 3 days on, 3 days off, 4 days on, 4 days off. And I think it's actually helped the site production as well. So it's kind of a positive from the negative that we're dealing with right now.
You're making lemonade out of lemons, right?
Right.
And in this situation,
as far as the family life goes, is that I actually get to spend more time with my family, believe it or not. So it's for me, it's good. So thank y'all for that.
That's great to hear.
It's great to hear, indeed. And what is the most difficult aspect of the new normal that you find? And also, is there any suggestions from you on what we can do from corporate to help you out even further?
I think the most critical thing with what's going on now is the uncertainty, the unknown, as far as where the COVID-19 lies. As far as what we do on our off time. It's hard to say if people go home and just stay home, and do the social distancing, but that would be the most critical role with what's going on now as we're coming back, if people, are they sick? Are they not sick? Are taking care of themselves well enough. You know, the way that this this virus can go away. As far as anything to improve, I mean, you'll pretty much taking care of most of what we see, what we can handle on ground level. So I think everything is really good.
Thanks. Do you have enough PPEs? It was a little bit difficult at the beginning to find, you know, the mask and etc. Are you well covered there?
Yes, we're all covered with PPE. Corey's been on top of making sure that we have enough supplies here. So once we get low enough, obviously he already puts the order in well ahead of time for that lead time. So we are covered with the PPE. Yes, sir.
Come on and talk to me a little bit about driving out to the sites, and you know, what are we missing when we're doing that? You guys are taking separate trucks out to the sites?
Yes, sir. We're taking the separate trucks for each technician out to the sites. Usually we would take 2 technicians per truck, or since we have 4-seaters, more. So it requires more vehicles per technician.
One question I have for you guys is, do you feel that the current situation has reinforced your attention to the regular safety risk and, you know, hazards and etc., or do you think it's a distraction? So how can you maintain the same level of safety focus when in a COVID-19 situation?
I mean, there's a heightened level of safety you have to take into consideration with all the virus stuff going around. But I mean, it's pretty manageable. I mean, safety is always at the top of our list, so another thing to check off.
It is one of our concerns is that we're also preoccupied by the pandemic that we may lose a little bit of focus on the regular hazard that you have on site. So I'm glad to hear from what I hear what you're saying is that it's still a very big focus, and actually the beginning of the year was quite good from the safety track record. So again, congratulations if you can keep the focus on both. That's very, very key. So if we want to take a few more minutes, you guys share your questions, or if you have some specific topics you'd like to discuss, we'll be happy to.
One question, are we keeping the 12-hour split shifts because it works well with our crew here?
Yeah, good, very good question, and this has come up several times before. First of all, you know, I appreciate that this is working well for you guys. I also appreciate your comments earlier where you acknowledge it's actually working better for the site performance because we don't need call outs and those sorts of things. What I would say in general is where it's working, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it. But I also want to make sure that we're hearing from some of the other folks. So what I've asked Fong and Tad and John to do is to reach out to people like you to give us the feedback so that we can make a decision for the organization. It doesn't have to be the same one size fits all. So we may be able to provide some flexibility where some people are doing it and others aren't because it doesn't work for everybody. Great question.
Julius, on how do you manage the new situation overseeing different sites in different locations?
Well, for me, it's it's interesting. I'm constantly thinking about the mindset of the techs and the managers. So in my position, I support the managers who support the technicians. In Randall and Potter County, where the Spinning Spur personnel reside, they recently had an uptick in recorded cases. So in my mind, I go to, you know, are the guys able to manage that effectively on their off time? 3 days off, 4 days off, everybody being confined to their homes. You see on the news where some of the lakes and those kind of places have opened up. You know, are they getting out to those places? Is there anything that we could help them with in regards to just having some kind of mindset or PPE when they're going out there? You know, one of the most interesting things for me personally, biggest change, getting gas, common thing. You just take those kind of things for granted. I get gas every day. I usually do about 1,000, 1,100 miles a week. Every day I get gas. I cannot, now it's becoming normal, but I can't imagine not putting on gloves to touch that gas handle. So, you know, that to me, that's just been the biggest focus. One of my projects is still in construction. Hundreds of people are down there. What are we doing, to support those guys down there? We have the constant meetings with the expected construction team, as well as how we're going to transition over effectively to O&M. I would have had a routine where I would be down there once a week. Since our COVID situation, I have not been down there at all. So I really I make a more conscious effort to make that construction call, or maybe have a little bit more phone time with the construction manager down there. But it just, from section to section in Lubbock County, we haven't had the uptick in COVID cases as they have it in Randall and Potter County. So, just depending on what the circumstances are, that's where my focus goes. So I have all three spinning spurs 1, 2, and 3. So that's 25 people that are exposed to that uptick with the COVID case recordings.
And so tell me about the hazards associated with the work that you have planned specifically for today.
So basically, we're going to go and plan our day accordingly. We're going to start off with our hazards, of course. Going up the ladder, getting up there, chaining down with these high winds. What we have to do, how to prevent injuries. And then we're going to start off with our lotto procedures and, make sure everything's locked out. With a day like this, there probably won't be any hub work, so we'll focus on the nacelle and the DPA. Just monitor the rest of the day.
Clearly, you guys are on the top of the safety protocols and procedures, so congratulations. It's impressive to hear that. How do you guys help each other to make sure that in your 12-hour shift, or day after day after day, you don't lose focus on safety? Do you call each other? Is that widely accepted? How do you use the team to reinforce safety?
Our constant communication with the checklist, depending on what we're doing for the day, we're always popping up to make sure everyone's good. Like, hey, what step are you on? Where are you at? Are you good? Do you need anything? Make sure you watch your pinch points. Your footing, especially your footing up on the Siemens turbine. It's not a whole lot of space to work with. So we're constantly, like I said, in communication with each other and make sure that we're safe.
Please continue to do that. It's the sign of a good team that we can have open communication like this. Thank you. Wesley, you mentioned that what's the most difficult to live with is the uncertainty. And I wish I could help with that. I'm afraid I can't. We have to put ourselves in a mindset that we are in a new normal, where for months, hopefully more or less a year, we're going to have to take some extraordinary precautionary measures to be able to protect ourselves, and more importantly, protect our communities. It's about oneself, but it's mostly making sure that there is enough doctors and enough people to be enough nurses, enough hospital beds to be able to take care of whoever is sick. So my only feedback to the question you asked about uncertainty is that prepare yourself mentally, physically to get so that you can carry on for several months. For me, for example, personally, the first few weeks were great because I got my kids coming back from the Bay Area where one works, another one came back from college, and I had my whole family, so I was so happy with that. But honestly, weeks after weeks and months after months now, we're in the end of the second month, feeling constrained into those nice fence of my garden. It's starting to wear a little bit on the morale. So we just have to accept it and build routine and build, a sense of new normal that this is okay. We're going to get through that, but not expect miracles in the short term, because I don't think they're going to come. And it's our duty and our responsibility, as you guys are doing a great job to keep our plant running. As citizens everywhere we are, we need to, go shopping as little as we can and take all the safety and precautionary measures that are necessary so that we protect our community. Sorry, it's a little bit long, but I wanted to get back to you and maybe I get a dialogue on this aspect with you guys over there. Can you tell us right now a little bit more about, how it feels to be in that new normal, that new situation?
A lot of it just comes to just thinking about not only yourself. Like I just had a baby on March 16th, so I have a young newborn at home. So I make sure while I'm at work that things that I would normally do, I'm not doing. I'm wearing my gloves. I'm wearing my mask. When I come home, I change in the laundry room, put my clothes for the day in the washing machine, and shower before I interact with anybody, just in case something did come up at work, that I don't spread it to my family and keep it going. So it's really changed my daily routine when I get home. It's not just come through the door and start my day. I have a whole routine to keep everybody safe at my house.
Some of you other guys, how are Corey mentioned new baby and wife at home with the new baby, and how is your family? How are you guys dealing with this with your family? What are the challenges there?
So for me specifically, with the family, it's actually working a lot better. Like I kind of have the same routine that Corey has. I have twin boys at home that are still being homeschooled, I think, until the next 2 weeks. So I go from work, to home. So when I'm not at work, I'm at home and I'm homeschooling my kids. So it has become the new norm, and we have a routine every morning, and we've adapted and adjusted very well. And
how about some of you other guys? Any sort of work-life balance challenges associated with this, or you're working through it?
We're working through it pretty well. I mean, my family's going a little crazy at the house, but I mean, it's just a new norm that they have to get used to for a while.
I can imagine the first couple of weeks were a little bit hair-raising.
Yeah.
And I know the whole uncertain look. I mean, I'm looking at all the charts. One of the charts that we look at changed pretty drastically over the last 4 days. We all sort of feel that uncertainty piece. None of us, quite honestly, want to be stuck in our homes much longer. But
we all have different challenges, and thinking about how we can help each other to go through that is important too. It's a bit awkward through video and being so distant with you guys, but one thing I wanted to tell you before we wrap this up is thank you for the service and thank you for keeping the plant running. I know it feels sometimes it's a small thing compared to the huge amount of power that's usually running in the U.S. But we are an essential service, and keeping the light on is our core mission. And you guys are contributing to that through the pandemic and through every day of your life, basically. So really, it's amazing how the not only your team at Spinning Spur One, but all across EDF Renewable North America have responded. So thank you for that. It's an amazing job you guys are doing there. It's likely the most awkward visit we've done so far, but we do have to adapt to the digital age. So I hope that it was useful to you guys. It was useful to us for sure, and for me in particular, that don't spend as much time as Marty on the various sites. But thank you for your time, and again, a big thanks for your service there and keeping the plant running. This is highly appreciated. Thanks. Marty?
I encourage you to have a monthly discussion around where we are and what we can do to continue to drive that performance. Obviously, you're doing the right things if we're at 97 or 98%, and especially in the middle of what the challenges that you guys have going on out there. So I greatly appreciate what you guys are doing, both from the COVID-19 perspective, sort of stepping up to the challenges there and working through the shift work and the split shifts and those sorts of things, but also just what you guys have done at that site in general from a KPI perspective. Keep it up, guys.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you soon in person next summer, maybe.
I thank you to the Spinning Spur crew. One of the best performing projects we have in our fleet. Going through the time to go through this video, but a thank you to Marty and Tristan to take the time to do the video, because it shows that our leadership of our company actually care. Marty is known for hitting us with the tough questions, but it's in an effort to make us better and to make sure we're headed in the right directions and performing to expectations. I just really think it's it's could be misunderstood in most cases, but I feel a level of appreciation that you guys are taking the time to show, you care about the field and that you're making this effort to support us, see what we need. Thank you to both.
We'd rather be there, to be honest with you. We'd rather be there.
Thank you, Julius. We cannot ever forget that everything comes from the megawatt hour that we produce on those sites. So it all starts and ends with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Be safe. Be safe.
Sure.
See you guys.
Be safe.
And
we'll
we're
see you soon.
out. Have a good day.